Karl Heisenberg has one of the most complex stories in Resident Evil Village. He is the polar opposite of his siblings, granted great power with no side effects that we can see. The Kanda gave him abilities to the likes of what we had never seen before, being able to control magnetic impulses through his mind and body. He was the master of magnetism and was able to project his very being inside of a television. To top it off, he was a genius level engineer and built an army, literally. My initial reaction to seeing him in the teasers was, he's gonna be on our side. And in many ways, he was. He decided to go against his mother and take back what was never really his. What could a man who had everything going for him want? When Heisenberg confronts Ethan at the castle drawbridge and the metal starts to float up, I knew that if he was a taste of what's to come, I didn't want the full meal. Out of the other lords, I would say that he was the one who had resentment towards Miranda. Kidnapped as a baby and subjected to the Kanda parasite, he has been under her control ever since. When did he decide he was going to kill Miranda? It isn't clear. I assume it's well before he meets Ethan. There is a great debate among my friends and I on why Heisenberg would put Ethan through a gauntlet. The way I see it is if Mother Miranda would have chosen Lady D or any of the others, Ethan would have been killed on the spot. He seems to be testing Ethan. He wants to see if his reputation had preceded him, so he gave him a chance. That cubbyhole was no accident. Karl needed allies. At some point, Karl discovers how powerful Rose is, and I would say it's about the same time he discovers how strong Ethan is. When Donna and Moreau is defeated, he contacts Ethan through the television.
Who's that?
Oh, come on. We just met a while back, not that it really matters.
You're the last asshole in my way, aren't you?
You've got fight. I'll give you that, Ethan. But what's the plan when you have all 4 flasks?
What are you trying to get at?
I could lend you a hand.
Trying to get on my good side?
Oh, don't get cocky. I'd kill you if you weren't worth the trouble. There's a stronghold not too far outside the village. Go there and get my flask. Do that, and you pass. First, head back to the graveyard.
This was his chance to get revenge on his mother. My thought process is, if Ethan was successful, that it would weaken Miranda's defenses even more, as the stronghold was the den of the wolves. Furious, the leader of the pack, met his end, and Karl reaches out to Ethan again, telling him to put the rose jars in the altar and to cross the ancient bridge.
Lady, supersized bitch, ugly ass psycho doll, an embryonic freak. Don't you get it? It's a test to see if you're strong enough to be a part of Miranda's family.
I don't want to be a part of Miranda's family.
Neither did I, but here we are.
For the life of me, I don't understand why Ethan didn't make the deal. Did he feel that he couldn't trust Karl? Or did he feel that if he used Rose against Miranda, that he would lose Rose? One thing is for sure, with their combined powers, I feel like Ethan would have lived. Lived is subjective here. If Heisenberg would have double-crossed him, Chris and the Wolfhound Squad would have been there to back him up. As Ethan makes his way through the factory, Heisenberg tells him his story of how he was forced to be a slave and how he knew that Miranda only thought of him as an experiment. He was humiliated and said he would stop at nothing to defeat Miranda on his own. He mentions if Miranda finishes the ceremony, that it would be the end of Rose, which indicates to me that he had no intention of harming Rose himself. By the time Ethan defeats Storm and makes it back to the top of the factory, Heisenberg no longer has interest and wants to be left alone to start his rebellion.
Bad, Jersey. You're persistent. but I've got a rebellion. So stay out of my way.
Pushing Ethan back into the factory with the help of Chris Redfield. Ethan chases down Karl in a tank for the final showdown. Ethan gets the upper hand and Karl is defeated.
This can't be the end for me! I must kill her!
His final thoughts were of Miranda. His final breath, he uttered the words, "He must kill her." I will say that this was a sad fight for me. Ethan literally hunted him down and killed him when he wasn't a threat. Think about it. Miranda knew what Karl was up to. She never had confronted him. She only shows up after he's been killed. This is what she says.
With Heisenberg gone, you've lost your lead. What are you going to do?
I don't know, but I'm saving Rose.
You'd never know, do you?
Even she knew how dangerous he was and may have thought that him and Ethan might have been too much for her. That is one mystery we'll never get closure. During the fight with Ethan, Karl says this.
I'm a goddamn freedom fighter!
What could a man want who had everything going for him? He chose to break the shackles that bind him. Karl just wanted to be free.